And Palestinians around the world can still be felt, especially during Israeli Apartheid Week. Now, this is an annual international series of events such as rallies, protests, educational lectures, performances and films held in over 250 cities across the globe. The aim of this week is to, of course, raise awareness of Israel's apartheid policies towards the indigenous Palestinians. The non-violent boycott, divestment and sanctions calls for support against the Israel campaign, which seeks to bring an end to Israel's apartheid policies and violations of international law. For more on the Israeli Apartheid Week, I'm very pleased to be joined in studio by Latin America Boycott, Divestment, Sanctions Coordinator all the way from Brazil. Let me see if I get this right, Mr. Pedro Ferraracio Charbel. Pedro, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
That was perfect pronunciation. Thanks for having me. Thank you
so much for joining us. Pedro, let's start with your tour here in South Africa. I mean, we saw that the tensions still remain. We saw fights breaking out at between students at university campuses and so on. Do we still find it difficult to work together to try and find a solution for this Israeli-Palestinian impasse?
Yeah, actually, it has been very inspiring to me to be here in South Africa. You know, I'm learning a lot from South Africans about their struggle against apartheid once, and the struggles they're facing now still for justice and equality. So it's really inspiring. I've been traveling the whole country and events in communities, universities, everybody joining together to raise awareness about Israel's apartheid and to support the boycotts campaign against Israel's apartheid. And it's really inspiring for us because isolation campaigns played a key role to help to end apartheid in South Africa. And now to see South Africans giving the solidarity back to Palestinians really inspire us in Latin America and also gives Palestinians a lot of hope.
Now, you mentioned also when we're talking of that, you mentioned different parts of the globe that you've visited. Do you tell us how has been the response? Are people in solidarity with this boycott campaign?
Oh yeah, the BDS movement, boycott, divestment, sanctions movement is growing all around the world. I mean, in the US, you have churches divesting from companies that are connected to Israel's violations. In Latin America, we've been connecting our own struggles to Palestinian struggles. If you see what the military police does against black people in Brazil, for example, it does using Israeli technology and Israeli training. So for us to stand in solidarity with the Palestinian people is also a matter of fighting human rights violations in our own region. All around Europe, companies connected to Israel's violations are losing deals and contracts, what is pressuring them to leave the Israeli market. So if you see companies like Veolia, Orange, they are huge multinational companies that had to leave the Israeli market after facing loads of boycotts.
Look, let's talk about the severity of the situation, particularly in Palestine. I mean, you've been there, Pedro. What do you see? How is the apartheid from the Israelis affecting the Palestinians from growing economically and otherwise?
Yeah, so I've been there, but an important point to make is that you don't need to be there to be in solidarity with Palestinians. I mean, my parents' generation didn't come to South Africa and they stood in solidarity with South Africans. But yes, I've been there and I could see with my own eyes, you have segregated sidewalks, you have Jewish-only settler roads, Jewish-only settler buses, Palestinians' houses are being demolished and in their place they are building Jewish-only settlements.
So their human rights are being violated, basically.
Human rights and international law. So basically Israel is occupying Palestinian land. It's implementing apartheid against Palestinians that live inside Israel. We must not forget they are there. And the refugees all around the world, more than 5 million of Palestinian refugees that have the keys to their houses that were from once they were expelled, and they do have the hope and the right to go back. So that's why the BDS movement exists. It comes from a call from the entirety of the Palestinian people to us to pressure Israel to respect the international law, to end occupation, to give equal rights for Palestinians inside Israel, and to respect the right of refugees to return.
Let's talk more about the BDS campaign, Pedro. I mean, what are you hoping to achieve eventually by this? I understand you're still in the country for quite a period of time. You're leaving on the 17th. What are you going to be doing around this campaign?
Yeah, so I've been touring around the country as part of Israeli Apartheid Week, and it's truly inspiring to see more than 125 activities happening only in South Africa. And in Europe, Israeli Apartheid Week is also happening, and it's so powerful. And this that we are doing is so powerful that it bothers Israel so much because it unmasks the normality. We're telling people what's happening there, and people are gathering together to support the Palestinian people. So Israel even tried to stop Israeli Apartheid Week to happen in the UK and Germany.
Imagine
you know, simple people gathering, raising awareness, that is a threat for them. And I think it's very meaningful to see why this is a threat. We are calling for democracy, equality, justice, freedom, I mean, human rights. And if human rights are a threat for Israel, it says a lot about Israel's apartheid.
Who can, you know, those that want to participate, how do they assist you guys?
Yeah, people can get involved because this movement is about grassroots involvement. So anyone can get involved. Anyone can hear this call and join the movement. So be informed, share this news, participate in Israeli Apartheid Week, go to the BDS Movement website, bdsmovement.net and BDS South Africa website, join a campaign, see if there is a company like G4S, a multinational security company near your house, in a private shop, talk to that owner. Do not hire the companies that are complicit, that are enabling apartheid there. We must end complicity and we must be in solidarity to the Palestinian people as once the whole world was in solidarity with South Africa.
Absolutely. Now, Pedro, I mean, how else can we strengthen the relations between the BRICS countries, particularly to work towards assisting Israel to stop what they're doing?
Yeah, so if you see Brazil, for example, in 2014 it withdrew its ambassador from Gaza as a protest against Israel's bombing against the Gaza Strip. But then at the same time, Brazil is the 5th biggest Israeli gun buyers in the world. So you either support the Palestinian people or you buy weapons. So it's time to pressure our governments for effective solidarity, including the South African government, as Latin American governments have speaking in support of the Palestinian people. But it's time for the South African government to implement a military embargo on Israel. We can no longer accept that there isn't such a military embargo. We must pressure the South African government, all governments around the world, to break ties of complicity with Israel. We cannot accept that our tax money is paying human rights violations against the Palestinian people.
Now, where can people get more information, Pedro? I understand that there's events like rallies, protests, educational lectures taking place. Where can people get more information in order to come and be part of these events? Yeah,
so people can still join Apartheid Week. It's going on. You can go to Apartheid Week South Africa website and Facebook page, and the general page for the BDS movement, bdsmovement.net and BDS South Africa. And there you can find all information, and you can find ways to get involved with the movement in different ways, online or going to rallies or making campaigns. There are many different forms. That's why the movement is so strong. They're calling on us, the people, to make the difference. If states are connected, oppressing us, we should be connected as well. We should connect our struggles and we should be in solidarity with them. It's about human rights, it's not about religion. It's about supporting humanity. It's about supporting basic rights for the Palestinian people that for decades have resisting occupation, apartheid and settler colonialism. And they hope that with our international solidarity, they will achieve their freedom, justice and equality.
Look, Pedro, talk to us about some of course, you know, the victories that the Latin American countries have achieved with regards to raising awareness when it comes to this issue.
Yeah, just last month, the security company I was telling you about, G4S, who is deeply involved with Israel's apartheid, but also violates human rights of Mexicans in the US-Mexican border, for example. So Latin Americans connect these struggles. And there was this research center last month in Ecuador, CIESPAL, a media research center. They decided not to renew their contract with G4S because of its involvement with Israel's apartheid. So that's how we work. So the Israeli company Mikrot, who is responsible for the Israeli apartheid of water in the West Bank, taking the water from the Palestinians and taking that to the Jewish-only settlements, lost deals in Brazil and in Argentina because movements were protesting against that company. So that's how we work. Companies are losing deals all around the world. Universities are breaking partnerships.
People are taking notes.
Yeah, we are. And that's a very strong movement. And we are bothering Israel's apartheid. And that's a good sign.
All right, Pedro, before I let you go, a very quick one. I mean, you told me off air that you're going to Cape Town tomorrow. Where can people join you to be part of this movement?
Yeah, so I'll be in Cape Town, but also today I'm going to a soccer match. You know, we'll have the deputy minister.
Enjoy your time while you're here.
He's joining us there. The soccer team from the parliament. We're actually raising awareness to try to expel Israel from FIFA because in the sports-wise, it's also very connected to Israel's apartheid. So we're having this soccer match to raise awareness about the issue. So hopefully people can also, you know, join the campaign in different ways, pressuring FIFA to exclude Israel because it has soccer teams that are in settlements violating international law, and it's violating the rights of Palestinian soccer players. So even in sports boycotts played a key role in isolating South Africa during apartheid.
It's supposed to be a unifier.
Oh,
Pedro,
yeah.
thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us in studio, and of course best of luck with your campaign. That was Mr. Pedro Ferraracio Charbel, the Latin American Boycott and Divestment Sanctions Coordinator, and he was talking to us about the Israeli-Palestine Apartheid Week and what their role is in all of this. Your sport news are coming up next.